Hello and welcome to the final of the 4 sessions of this little campaign of Vigor on... oh, weird. I was getting... I didn't realize I had the actual stream open in my... in another window, so I started getting myself for a moment, which was quite strange. Anyway, let's try that again. Hello. Welcome to this 4th and final session of this campaign of Vigor for Gauntlet Hangouts. Here with Chris and Barrett and Nova. Jason won't be joining us again tonight, but that's okay. We'll soldier on without him, and when we get into bits that require Sander, we'll just, we'll each take turns playing him like we did the bear last week, and it'll be hilarious and hopefully creepy. But yeah, speaking of this week and this session, just to recap a little bit, last week where we left off was there was a big revelation having to do with that 40-year gap in the records that you all found. The Lord Governor's daughter, Vermilion, was on the scene when you didn't exactly break into the Lord Governor's mansion, but poked around in there after having made yourselves at home. And yeah, found some interesting stuff about a file that was showcased a scene that folks would rather have forgotten from those 40-year gap of another archivist who seems to have been on some level possessed maybe by this computer, and basically brought the whole system down, crashing all around them. So that's neat. And our current young archivist is, I'm sure, dealing just fine with all of that, not feeling terrified in the least. And yeah, that's more or less what we did last week, if I'm not mistaken. We left off. Anybody else have anything to add from their perspective or their character's perspective before we dive into what's next? Cool. Well, let's dive into what's next. Sorry for all the clinking and clanking. There's dishwashing going on. But that'll probably be over soon. We don't have an infinite number of dishes. So, do we? We were going to pick up with a regroup scene. Chris, you had one regroup action left after last week, where we wanted to show your young archivist in a flashback to a moment when they this is their kind of like George Washington cannot tell a lie, chopping down the cherry tree moment, except about equally fictional, probably. Certainly apocryphal. So Chris, set this scene up for us. I'm assuming you've already done the mechanical bits of like taking the roots AP for this or whatever.
Yeah, it's already took care of that.
Natures or narratives, I don't remember. Anyway, but yeah, set this scene for us. What's happening?
Forgot to think about specifics before jumping on tonight. So if you guys want to throw in, feel free. This is when I was still very young, probably around 4 or so. And they were scouting out for a new archivist. And the thought that we had is kind of the moment where they figured out that maybe I was it. And so I imagine that probably, and I'm having to remember names here. Frist is probably there. And then Sander is probably there as well. I'm trying to think of what could have happened. Probably something to do with the sort of ability to compromise or to kind of mediate in a way, or maybe to sort of look at things objectively. Maybe there's even an argument between Sander and Frist.
Totally. I was just thinking that. I was thinking that could be where this scene picks up, and maybe the young archivist steps in to mediate on some level.
We're both being dumb. Stop it.
Done. Sold. Yeah, so I kind of see this as like foreshadowing the moment that we were about to have too, which was where the door opens and it's Sander and the archivist meeting for first time in a few years. So if we have like the scene here where Frist and Sander are basically like this is like when you go, and the argument that leads up to that, maybe. Does that sound cool? You into that scene?
Yeah, sounds good.
Sweet. So Nova, why don't you take it away as Frist? You've come to the village here where Sander and nameless archivist live, and you've been here loads of times, but this time is different, pointedly different.
Okay, so I'm not sure what argument to have here. Oh gosh, especially because I'm there's no Sandor foil, I guess, right now. Unless you would like to step in as Sandor.
Yeah, I'll play Sander for tonight. Just to, because we want to see what happens with that arc. I asked Jason if there was any particular way he wanted it to go, and I haven't heard back from him. So, surprise! Yeah. We'll see what happens.
I hope he's doing all right. I'm sorry, which specific context? Because I've already, like, I'm super anxious tonight. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry about it. It's okay. We'll get into it. The context here is that Frist is coming to basically Sander and soon to be young archivists home to take the child.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure if this was that day or not, and I was like, is this the day I tell, or is this the day I take?
Yeah, I think taking, or that sounds horrible to say. Taking the child, but
telling could be interesting because that might be, maybe it was a bit of a bluff, maybe, so they weren't actually sure if I was it yet, but maybe like that moment of finding out the reaction was part of the test, so to speak.
Cool. Well, let's do that. It's your scene, Chris. We'll do it however it works best.
And we don't have to dwell on it too long since it was it's just a flashback, but so I'm kind of imagining that Frisk comes to break the news, and Sander probably is not pleased about this, having already sort of shown a anti-forge kind of sentiment. And so the idea that, his kid is going to be, one of the biggest, most influential figures in this society probably doesn't sit very well. I don't know if there's anything in particular you'd want to take that.
Go ahead, Nova, if you had something, but.
No, I was so hoping I wouldn't have to speak.
All right. So Sander's looking out the window of their modest homestead. and sees the long shadow cast by Frist coming up the lane toward their home. And he starts pacing. He's like equal parts nervous and excited. I don't think he knows that this is the conversation they're about to have, right? And so there's kind of that, like, there's a history there of a relationship. And this is definitely going to be a moment where it all kind of comes crashing down. So he's pacing, he's expectant. And Nova, as Frist comes up, do you just knock on the door? Do you just come on in? What's your usual procedure?
Frist will knock 3 times, slow, well-paced knocks, just 3 times. That's the same thing that they do every time they come in. So no wait for Sandor.
Yeah, so Sandor is expecting your idiosyncratic knock and knows that it's kind to let you finish it, even though he knows it's you. And opens the door. It's like smiling, big, broad smile, and then sees your face. It's like, what's wrong? Did something happen on the way here? I wasn't expecting you today.
So context. Remember when I had set the scene before? Like, he had been not seeing me for 3 days at this point, and Frist has not been sleeping as well. Frist has not, like, they've been crying their eyes out, and they're like, this is a lot. So they were supposed to see each other before, and they hadn't shown up with no contact, and this is the first time since then too.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Showing up because we had parts of the scene already too.
That's right. That's
so this
right,
works really well.
This is kind of
like this a lot.
Continuation of that scene. That's right. I forgot the particulars of it before, but yeah. So this is kind of like we've been seeing clips of this scene throughout the game, and now it kind of all comes to a head.
All right, recap over. I'm sorry, Sandor. I'm sorry.
You don't have to be sorry. It's fine. You're here now. Things come up. I understand. It'd be nice if you could actually. Sorry, what?
You don't understand.
What? Why are you being? Boy,
Your son has been. Sandor, your son has been chosen. Your son.
Chosen for what? Chosen for what?
To be trained as the next archivist.
No. 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 He turns to you, Chris. Let's why don't you go in your room and just play for a bit? Frist is obviously very confused about something here, and we're gonna need to get a second to get it straight. Can you go and play with your toys, buddy?
So I'll scoot away, kind of looking confused and a little concerned. And I'll do the old thing where you go around the corner, but then like don't actually go into your room. So I'm still there and still listening.
You are not taking my son to that place. Is this? Oh my God! Oh my God! Is this what this has been about the whole time? Is
what?
This you and me?
What?
You
Sandor,
knew?
how could you? No, I didn't. Why do you think I didn't come? They told me this week, and I had no idea.
You just expecting.
Does this look like the face of someone who's okay, Sandor? Does it really?
It does. Look, I get it. I mean, I'd be upset too if I came to backstab my partner by taking their child. I wouldn't feel great about that either. So yeah, I can see that you're not well. I'm not well either with this. This is not happening. This is just not happening. You can go. We're not coming.
It's not my choice, and it's not. It doesn't matter if it's me. I didn't come to take him. I came to tell you.
How long do we have?
A few days, maybe?
I just can't even. I can't even. This. You know who I am. You know what what I carry with me, passed on to me. I'm supposed to be the one who tears it down. I'm not going to be the one whose son builds it up, who gives it a platform, so feet to stand on. This is not how this goes. You go in 2 days. When you come back, you'll never find us.
Except they will, and it won't be hard. You know that they already keep tabs on anyone that's chosen immediately, and I don't. I'm not the person in control of this.
Better them than you. And just steps back and closes the door.
And so I think at that point I might wander back out. And how much do I know about all of this? Has it been talked about? Is it something that like I would just know about from being a kid in this world?
I would think so, yeah. But I also think you would have a good bit of brainwashing from me.
Fair point.
About
and also Frist.
Yeah.
So what's
of a lot of people you'd be intimately aware of.
Mm-hmm. What's Frist's take on it? Like, what have I learned from Frist?
Frist believes that it is necessary and that it is a honored role. Whether or not it's good is not something they've ever said, excuse me. Gosh. You know what? Frist just uses every pronoun anyway. This is fine. No. They pretty much just make it to be a position of necessity and honor, and it is the best thing you could do for the Forge, basically. Not a good thing necessarily for anything individual, but always positing it as it's good for the Forge.
Gotcha. So I'll come out and ask basically, and not necessarily these words, but, chosen for what? Am I going to be like Frist? Since you were a former archivist.
You're not going to be like Frist. You're not going to be anything like Frist. What the world needs is people like you, son. They need people who are brave and people who know right from wrong, people who stand up for those who the hierarchy and Forge just prop up to perpetuate their own agenda. They need folks to stand up.
Why can't I do that there? People like Frist get to help people, right?
Do they?
Seems like to me.
I don't know about that. As far as I can tell, their work is about tearing things down.
That's not what I heard.
You will understand when you're older. Right now, everything seems simple. It seems black and white, right? Like, You trust them. They're big. I get it. They're in front of all the people, and they talk, and it looks like they have a lot of power, but you don't understand, son. They're not. They're just puppets. You're just a puppet when you're one of them. If you think you can tear the whole thing down from the inside, you're deceived. It's not possible.
Why does it have to be torn down? Why can't we just get along?
See how far that line goes. I need to get some air. Why don't we go play out back?
I think that's a good place to cut.
Yeah, sounds good. So Sander and Son move to go out back. They open the door, and then as it creaks open, we cut to the creaking open door in the Archivist chamber. There's like a knock, just kind of a, and then it starts to creak open before you say anything. Hello?
Who's there?
It's me.
I'll look at you and have this kind of look on my face, like you seem familiar and yet not. I would say I know you.
Yeah. And everyone else here at the table, what happens? Does he tell the truth? Does he back down? Where does this go?
Is that maybe a roll?
Oh, could do, yeah. It sounds like a roll for Sander.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a vigor check. This feels like a very much a question of his force of character, right? It's not really more about seeing if he has the will to act here. All right, I gotta grab his character keeper real quick because I didn't have that up. Silly Stitch. Unprepared.
Happens to the best of us.
And apparently, it also happens to the most scattered of us.
It just means we're taking the story in cool, unexpected directions.
Yeah. All right. Doesn't have any corruption, so this is just a vigor check at 2d6. Oh, he's still wounded. Still wounded. Sander. All right. I'm gonna add 2 to it for his wound. It's maybe got him a little lightheaded here. He does it. He hits his vigor check. 1 under where he needs to be. So that tells us that he does possess the vigor to stand up in this situation, and I think to bear the really unpleasantness of what's about to happen. So Sander, Chris, you say, like, I know you. And he just starts crying. He's like, yeah, we know each other. We, look, I can understand. It's really complicated. I've been through hell to come here. And I just wanted you to know that. Just wanted you to know that you were worth it. You're worth coming here for. I'm your papa. I'm your dad.
So, a little bit stunned. I think that the archivist would just kind of stare for a minute, and then compose himself.
I get it. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot for me to look. You were so young. There had no choice. I really thought I was going to have a choice. I really thought at some point I would have a choice. And there's these flashbacks of like the taking of you, and there's like 3 or 4 hierarchy guards on Xander, and he's just like fighting them, and he takes one down and cuts one. And he's got a knife just thrashing wildly, and he's shouting. It's all kind of happening in slow motion and kind of like a tinnitus sort of shot where everything's a little muted and hollow sounding. We just get this kind of image of trauma. He says, I used to say that we always had a choice. But I learned that that's not true.
I made a choice.
Yeah. You're always better than me.
That's not what I meant. I meant I just don't want you to feel that I shouldn't be here. Because I chose to be here.
You did. You were always brave. You're still brave. And I made a choice too. Forgive me, I didn't let you in on this choice. And he reaches toward you, and he's got his hand out, like open, like he's kind of cautiously inching toward you, like I'm not gonna hurt you. I just want to touch you. And he reaches out for your hand.
And I'll take it.
He turns it over, and he pushes up the sleeve
Mm-hmm.
of your. And he pulls out a little light from his vest pocket. He's
Mm-hmm.
wearing a vest. That's why he says "Long live old vest." And he shines the light on your wrist. And up and down it, you see these sigils coming in to focus that the light brings out, either under your skin or on your arm somewhere. And he says, I'm sorry. I had no right to do this, but the best way to bring it all down is from the inside. And I think that's a good place to cut that scene. Yeah. We can process it a little bit in the meta if we want to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's what I'm thinking is I was just trying to use this this asset here that Xander has, the piece of code that brings it all down, supposedly. That's listed as his asset, but I thought it may be cool if we could kind of play with that a little bit, Chris, if you're into that.
Absolutely. I was actually thinking the same thing.
Cool. Yeah, so long part of Sanders' in game here, Sanders' game, is seems to be actually all coming to plan, even if 12 years later or whatever. What else do we have going on here? We've got some pretty potent news and evidence. We've got an archivist who is feeling a lot of things right now, probably, but who knows how that's manifesting. Dylarama, Frist, what are you all up to, and what's next with the threads that we've got going on here too? We've got that 40-year gap in the records where we've got some answers to that now, and they revolve around well, we know what the actual records say, but those kind of now revolve around this storyline between Vermilion and her mom and this overthrow. You all wanted to be turning against the hierarchy a bit in this final one. We've got some Hussites who are disbanded hierarchy faction in the mix. Those are all in our threads on the Roll20 tabletop. Any of those or anything else that you all want to get into?
I'd kind of like to show up near the end of Sandor's and the Archivist scene when Sandor's trying to sneak off.
Or even you just step in right now, because I don't know exactly what's
no, it's like a... I think it's like your door is open and like Dylarama's like sort of wheeling in just behind Sandor, so you can't see it. There's this loud crackle, snap, and electricity shoots through his body. Dylarama's taking a stun gun to him. Guards! Guards!
Oh my goodness! So you just...
And he's handed the code off to the Archivist, correct? Like at this time?
Yeah, in a sense. I think the fiction that I was kind of playing with was the idea that it was in the Archivist the whole time, and he needed to come show up so that he could bring it out.
Gotcha. That works.
So yeah, in the mechanical result is the same. It is in the hands of the Archivist, literally.
Good. But yeah, I'm calling for the guards.
Awesome. Yeah. So that's the end of that scene where the intense moment of father-son reuniting, this revelation of the code, and then just...
and if Frist is nearby, Frist will try to get Dylarama to stop calling for the guards.
Ooh.
No. Trust him.
I know him. I'm not going to do that. You saw how he got in here.
The Archivist is his son.
And he's disposable. The Archivist is not. Do you want to survive, or do you want to... Oh!
I need him.
Is this why you smelled like him in the hall? What do you need, Frist? Really?
I need Sandor alive, Dylarama. Just like you needed your wedding ring back.
Yes, but I had plans for my ring. Do you have plans for Sandor?
Nothing that would interest you.
Then why shouldn't I use him as I see fit?
Because I want to talk to him.
You see, Frist, that's dramatic and weighty. You should try it sometime.
Sorry, I can't with you sucking up all the air in the room.
I do need it for my brain.
Oh man, what do we want from this scene? Is there any actual like resolution that we need from
the
here?
reason I was calling for the guards is I wanted to offer Sandor up as the Judas Goat to keep it's like we've caught the rebel, yay! Hussites. Now, like while they're doing this, walk behind them, go here, fuck shit up.
Totally into that. We can see that play out. I mean, I suppose in one sense, Sander was originally trying to get himself thrown in prison in here, so it's not the craziest thing in the world if he ends up there. You could break him out later. But if there is some like inner player versus player sort of stuff we need to sort, we can do that as well. I wanted to make sure it was clear like who wants what, and if there's conflict between you all amongst that. Is there conflict between you all in terms of what you want?
Frist was really just trying to get Sandor with them, going where they needed to go, protecting the Archivist. They needed an extra body, but I mean, I personally have no investment in whichever way this goes. I kind of like the tension between Dylarama and Frist, and I love playing that up, but I'm totally fine with Dylarama getting what she wants out of this.
All right. Sander drops to the floor, the guards rush in. But the Archivist, you had voiced a desire for them not to take him. So what do you do now? The guards have rushed in. Mm-hmm. What is your play?
So actually, I'm going to let them take him, but I'm going to, if it's not obvious that they're going to hold him rather than like kill him right away, I just want to be able to talk to him at some point because I've got questions.
You probably have the authority to tell them where he's going, or we can.
I'll tell them to
roll for it, which might be interesting.
Yeah, I could probably use my asset to make that happen. I'm not sure if the asset is just like an automatic thing or how that affects things mechanically, but yeah, like if I do have any sway, I would tell them to, at least for the time being, like hold him in the whatever place would be appropriate at this particular building, as opposed to like going downtown or whatever the case might be. We are downtown, but
yeah, right. Going downstairs. Yeah, well, let's roll it and see what the prompts kind of would have us to do. Let's let the dice direct this bit because I feel like I am interested in the story going either way. So it sounds like maybe your presence roll here. I'd give you promising odds to give an order to these folks, and your robes of the Archivist here will be giving you a plus. What are they? 3, 4? I don't know. I'm not looking at it right now. There it is.
It's a rating of 3, if that helps.
It does help. Yes. So your presence roll plus 3 at promising odds.
Cool.
That's not right. Sorry. It's an 11. 3 plus 5 plus 3. Yeah. An 11 is a yes, but
I will use my free ability to give him a +1 to that roll at 0 vigor cost.
First, perfect. I'm assuming you're referring to
the foldability, I think.
Ready aid. Yeah. Lend a hand is to add improved odds or +1 d6. So why don't you, since we're already at promising, it's going to be adding 1 d6 either way. So why don't you roll 1 more d6 and let's see where that puts you, Chris. Just like a /R. Yeah. Okay, 15 from a yes. Oh. No, sorry. The highest 2 then is what we count. So still that is a +1, a net +1. Yeah, so it's a 12. It's just a straight up yes. Great. We did all that rolling for the most boring result in the game. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they come in. They're like, we heard Madame Dylarama call for us. I assume it has something to do with this character on the floor here. We had some reports of somebody roaming around matches this description. Is there anywhere in particular you want us to take him?
And I don't know the exact name of the place, but just kind of the standard place that would be in this building. It's kind of like it's a secure place, but it's not like a jail cell necessarily.
Yeah, there's a Chuck E. Cheese on the first floor.
There you go. No,
holding cell.
It's completely secure.
Like just a locked room. Maybe like a. I'm picturing almost like a waiting room for visitors that can be locked from the outside just in case they don't want the visitor leaving.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So he's down. Sander is going to be taken down, and you all have an idea of where they're taking him. It's down to the first floor. I'm assuming, like, in my head, the Archivist chambers are kind of like almost this penthouse sort of thing in the Forge. So they're taking him down basically to the ground level entrance here, where they've got like that waiting room and some like a questioning room. So he's being held in there. Okay, well we'll just we'll take him on down, and well, I guess either the sergeant at arms will be in to deal with him, or I don't really know.
I'll be down to speak with him shortly. Try not to harm him if you can avoid it.
I don't imagine he's going to kick up too much of a fuss in that state, so shouldn't be an issue. Guys, careful with his head. The Archivist says not to bump him. All right, so they carry him off down to one of the holding rooms. But with everyone kind of out of the Forge, dealing with that spill that we kind of alluded to in the last, there's not a ton of population here. So this is kind of the B squad. They don't know a ton of what they're doing. So,
I'd like to have a little powwow with the people in this room real quick, if that's cool.
Always.
So, I sort of pull you guys aside, and at this point, I'm going to kind of disclose some of the things that have been concerning me recently. So, I don't think I've told anyone yet about the voice in my head. So, look, since the crash the other day, there's something that I haven't told anyone. And it's a bit concerning. It's a little bit alarming, but try not to freak out if you can avoid it. I've been managing to do that myself so far. There are voices in my head. And I suspect that they are the machine or something from the machine. And I don't think they mean us well.
Do you think it's like what we saw in the records?
That's what I'm afraid of.
Oh, glorious. How wonderful. Voices, the computer going mad. Pill pop.
I don't think I've been pulled in any way. I don't think I'm not in control of myself. But I don't want what happened in that footage to happen here. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that doesn't happen.
Could you make for me, Chris, a vigor check, please?
Sure. Any modifiers?
Nope. The only modifier would be if you have any corruption. You do
No
it.
corruption at the moment.
Cool. Yeah, you do it. Yeah. At the moment, the voice in your head is subdued, and you're thinking mostly clearly.
I glance over at the teddy bear. It doesn't seem to be moving or talking at the moment.
Well, this is disturbing. Our best chance has voices in his head, and I'll look at Frist, I'll look at the Archivist. There's been some kind of reunion that has no emotional weight tied to me, so congrats, you two. But I believe if we're going to do something, now's our best time. They're out in the wild. They're showing the B squad here. Surely that means the C squad's going to be guarding where we need to go.
Not necessarily. 3 archivists in the same room tend to carry a bit of weight.
Perhaps we can call in a favor from our new friend if needed.
The best favor we can ask of her right now is for her to keep her mouth shut, unfortunately.
Fair point.
As usual, it falls to me. Thank you for being so wonderful in this. While you have been gathering your emotional baggage, I have been gathering allies. So I will call upon them to help, I suppose.
I'm sorry, I missed the part where you still had friends. What?
Oh, I didn't say friends. I said allies. I'm not that stupid.
Right. Who?
Oh, you'll know them perfectly, and I will like finger whisper or for Frisk to bend down close to her, and she will whisper the name of the man she debauched with in Frisk's ear.
Oh, it's so good.
That's why you wanted it back.
We're to be married after this, don't you know?
I didn't know he left his prior, really.
You didn't know he was alive.
Oh man. Bum bum bum. We've got love in the air and reunions all around. It's a good time, I think, right here, maybe for our first break. Let's catch 5. Y'all can think about what you want to do next. I think I'm interested. I think I'm interested in seeing some exchange with these with the Hussites and seeing what revolution y'all are planning, if any. And I have a feeling that it's not going to play Chris toward your more subtle desires of planting the seeds of revolution. All right, we'll be back in 5. I'm back. We're back. We are all quite a lot back. And we've got some designs on Revolution, it seems. What's next, friendos? Fear. Fear is one option. Yes, fear is good. Are you, so Ferret, were you thinking of, we're looking for a scene, we're looking for a scene involving the Hussites, flashback or forward or present?
I'm fine doing a flash forward or something, like leading them to the present.
Okay, yeah. This is the, between you and the gentleman in question?
Oh, I want Frist to be there because we play so well off each other.
I'm into that. I mean, so this could be like, you know, we've come back from commercial, and you've arranged a meeting where you're gonna unfold this plot. To which, first of all, I don't think we haven't really discussed it, and I know I don't at all know what our plot is here. Are we actually? Yeah, exactly. Yes. Are we interested in getting? You know what? We'll play to find out. I'm excited to be surprised about it. Let's do the scene then where Ferret, we've got Dylarama and Frist and the Archivist. At least you could all be there if you want, and you're off to see the Hussites.
So I think maybe I'll detour. So we'll part ways temporarily. We can go and do this scene real quick, and then I was going to talk to Sander. That can be maybe like we cut away to a meanwhile.
Cool.
Yeah, so I think they're in this like sort of upper class ish location they've carved out since the people have gone out to the wild. That this was just like a I guess it was like a small retinue left. It's like they got overwhelmed, so they're going to come back. The house is going to be wrecked. Things are going to be gone through. But Dylarama goes up to the door, sees the guards, makes some kind of hand gestures. Door opens, gets let in with Frist. Now, be polite. Last time you all met, there was a bit of a fight, I remember.
Do we have a name for this person who's the leader?
We don't! That's amazing. It's going to be fun because we can make one up.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Everyone just blurt out a syllable. No, I'm kidding.
One syllable per person.
Clearly, it's the head hussy.
The head hussy. That's the Grant hussy. Okay. This is Grant. Grant, the leader of the Hussites. All right. So Grant, the head hussy, is sitting kind of sprawled in his chair, like, you know, it's like a throne, but it's such a dilapidated, like, sort of ramshackle throne, just kind of cobbled together, various wood and splintery, and it creaks as he shifts his weight in it. He's like, well, you know, I'm glad to see you. Always glad to see you, Dylarama.
My darling, I bring a guest this time, as it is nearly time for the hammer to strike the anvil.
Hey, you know that I love it when you talk about action. We are folks of action here. We're all about it. Now, the last time, if I can remember right, he rises up out of his chair and starts walking toward. He kind of walks with this like jerky motion. It's like he's kind of dragging parts of his body toward you, like a little disjointed. As he comes up, he's like, "Last time we met, right? We met." He's looking at you, Frist. Did that go well?
Not as well as it will this time.
Flashback to fist fight, knockdown, drag out, bare knuckle brawl.
First will offer a hand.
All right, yeah, okay, all right. Puts the hand out, gives it a shake. Great. So we're all here. I've got my folks. You've got you two. Where are we going? How are we gonna level all the playing field out here today, Dylarama? Hit me with your big, beautiful brain.
We're going to forge a path towards the computer. With Frist, myself, and the Archivist, it should be quite easy. You should not be seen because, of course, you're supposed to be dead. Though it may cause enough shock value, it could be used. Once we get the Archivist to the computer, the Archivist has been loaded with a virus to take it out, or something, or it'll go boom. Easily.
You know I love boom. Don't I love boom? And everybody's back behind him is like, he loves boom.
And once we're done, you will take your place. I will take my place beside you, and we will rule the Forge. We will rule Old Vest, New Vest, whatever we want to call it.
I've always liked Middle Vest, like the Mid Vest, or Viled Vest. Those are good ones for me. We'll figure out a name later, right? that killed it. That was it. It was like, do y'all know that comedian James Acaster? He's got a Netflix special on right now. He has this great bit where he's like talks about how he forgot to say just playing devil's advocate when he's like on the jury, and he's like basically openly defends murder. And he's like, and then the next time I made a pun, and what I learned was people will hate you if you make a pun more than that time you openly defended murder. Probably true. Little true. All right. So you kind of roll out this plan for in front of Grant. He's like, okay, yeah, that all sounds great. Talk to me about how you're getting into the computer. I heard it was down. Is it down still?
Is it down? Out of character?
Yeah, it was. They shut it down, and they had the maintenance folks were working on it. They couldn't get it back up.
We'll get it restarted. I'm sure that with some elbow grease, we can work it better than these people are, if it's still down.
Yeah, hey, look, I'm just telling you what I heard. The other thing I heard, got some folks out there in the works, on the ground. They come back to me, they talk. They mentioned that along with this big spill they're trying to clean up out there, they found some weird shit down in those down in the mines. And if I were a betting man, and I think we all know I am, I had to say it has something to do with your computer going down. That's just me. That's my 2 cents. But it's the word on the street. Well, Dust Road.
Do you have any idea what this weird shit is? Anything more specific than that?
Your standard boilerplate, folks running for their lives, big spills of, I don't know, some sort of goop, and a lot of tanker trucks that were filling fast as they could and trucking them back into the forge. I think they're probably on their way back soon. So, what's that? Jimmy said something the other day. I thought it was funny. What was that, Jimmy? And Jimmy goes, shit got real. It's like, shit's getting real.
Thank you for that almost useful information. I appreciate it.
You can see why Dylarama loves this person. He's just absolutely going to totally make her regret all of her decisions by the time the night's over. Yeah, so basically, computer at the forge is down. There's a few options here which we can explore thread-wise. Grant's folks, the Hussites, are saying that that has something to do with the spill. Your hunch also could be that the three of you with your hive mind of archivists are able to get it up and running too. So we'll see. What you doing?
So, are we jumping to mine?
Sure can.
Gotcha. So yeah, I'm gonna go into that questioning room, and I'll ask the guards to leave us for the time being. Obviously, they're just gonna wait outside, but giving us privacy. So I'm going to walk in, and I don't know if Sander is standing or sitting or.
You walk up to the door,
mm-hmm.
and you go to like turn the knob, and it just opens, and there's just unconscious guards all over the room, and Sander's not there.
Brilliant. All right, so I need to try to find him. How do I do that? Oh, this is gonna get really weird. So I'm going to sort of under my breath saying, so voice in my head, I don't know if you ever gave me a name.
No.
Did they give me a name?
Ferret, did you give a name or Nova when you all were playing them? I don't think so.
What do I call you?
Do one of you want to take the voice? I feel like I've been NPCing it a lot tonight. So.
You can call us the Collective. Welcome.
Can we go with something shorter, maybe a little bit more endearing?
Colleen?
Colleen. Sure, we can go with Colleen. Colleen, I don't suppose you might be able to help me find my dad?
Processing. Processing request. We might be able to do that. Calling in Black Bear. Hello again, Vessel.
Hi, Bear.
So, you're looking for this man who sired you. Why haven't we heard of him before?
Apparently, I've been digging very deep. Look, I need to find him quickly.
Fine, just give up a bit of your autonomy and we'll help.
How about you just give me directions?
No, we need to walk you there. I would say, like, is this at this time if Nova has a different offer?
Mm-hmm.
I totally want there to be like squabbling between the voices in their head right now. So like we should totally make the counter offer like as an argument between us.
Yes, please.
Listening. So don't be so hard on the child. They'll be much more attached to it if you don't give them better offers at first. You got to give them honey. Sweeten the deal.
I'm not liking the sound of this either.
Vinegar is what catches flies. Are you fucking stupid? Honey? Do we want him fat?
It's a child, not a cat, not a fly. I know it's hard to tell the difference. They're both
Are you
same
sure?
sizing. But yes,
They,
child.
I mean, they both make such irritating, high-pitched noises.
To be fair, so do you.
I had to like clear my throat, like so my voice stopped cracking.
Right, kid. So you don't have to give up your autonomy this time. How about? Why don't you just let us in a little bit further and we can map it for you? That's the best way to give directions.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to her. Don't, whatever genders you people use. It's so silly these days. I mean, just listen to me. Give up a leg or two. It's much easier.
I like the mind map idea a little bit better.
Fucking hell!
They always take my side, Black Man. You know it. We should get the receptionist, Colleen, maybe. Hey, Colleen, do you want to make the map?
Processing map. Thank you, Bright Bear.
Oh my god, you guys. I could do that all night. Yeah, so Chris, I think we're probably due for another vigor check from you here, as this thing is trying to get a little more inside your head.
Okay. So vigor check doesn't call for any modifiers, correct?
It doesn't usually. It's just a matter of if your character is carrying any corruption,
Gotcha.
then that adds dice to the pool.
Cool.
Oh yeah, I'm showing you with 1.
Oh yeah, you're right. I was looking for something to be written down there.
Yeah. 1 tick on your corruption mark. So you'd be rolling 3d6, taking the highest 2. So I think if you roll vigor check from roll 20, it'll probably only just automatically roll 2 dice, and then just roll a third one.
Okay. So there's the first 2, and then just /R.
1d6.
Oh, /R, 1d6.
Well, your first one was the highest 2, and you rolled over it. So here's what we do. When you fail a vigor check, you can either, if you're looking at the, let me bring this up in the, damn it, okay. Having a hard time getting to the right window here. This is what happens when you try to run a game on a 13-inch laptop. We're looking at right here, the challenge tiers. So you do 2 over. Actually, then that's your best bet. So if you go over by less than 3, then you incur 0 corruption, or you can spend vigor to just decrease the result of the dice. So what I'm going to do here is, so you didn't pass, but you don't take any corruption. You can either take a condition here, like a 1st degree condition, or you can drop to vigor.
Let's see here. I think we'll go ahead and drop the vigor.
Cool. All right. So lose 2 vigor as you try to fight through the voices in your head to make sense of it all, and then your brain is kind of, narrate this for me here. Your brain's uploaded with some sort of map to your pops. How's this go?
I guess like sort of the way it manifests is not like any sort of like hallucination or even like heads up display or anything like that. It's more just that I have this insanely keen sense of direction, and I can just start walking in the right way to go as if I know exactly where I need to go, because I do.
Yeah, you do. You start to walk out the door, door. You are down on the ground level, and you kind of through the main entrance. These like kind of gilded halls of the forge, banners, war-torn banners flapping through the hall, and
do I look like I'm going to be leaving the grounds, like just going out into the world, or
you're heading that way?
Before I leave, then I'm going to throw on a cloak or put on some sort of like street clothing. I just basically don't want to be walking around as the archivist.
Sure. You could snag any of the uniforms from all of the guards that are strewn about this room.
I'm not sure if guard is what I want to be right now.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just want to get basically street clothes.
Yeah, cool. It's a holding cell, right? So they've got probably like a locker outside you can grab some stuff out of.
Cool.
Sweet. Yeah. You're going out the door. Let's see. We can either have you. Let's cut it there for that scene, and then when we pick it back up, we can have you maybe make a roll to see how this search is going, and maybe put us into some different fictional space with that. All right, Frist, Dylarama, what are you all doing?
I believe we're trying to get the computer up, don't you, Frist?
Yes, we are. And it won't take much effort.
No, hopefully it shouldn't.
Are you going? Sorry about that.
Please go ahead.
I was just going to ask, in what manner are you attempting to do that? Are you heading back to the forge and trying to get it online that way? Are you looking for a different approach?
I need a few Hussites with me, because I have a specific way I think I can get the computer back online. Or at least Dylarama has a specific idea.
Yeah, Frist was probably going to heavily lean on distraction and boom from the Hussites and get down to the computer directly themselves.
So at least Grant, then, please.
You got it. Grant's coming with you.
Yeah, so I think there's a bit of like an explosion in the forge, and then like those poor guards just, it's like, well, we're on duty. We're being paid overtime. Boom. Are we being paid enough?
Right. Let's see. I'm going to make a little stitch roll here. This is a thing that we do sometimes just for a, see how things might be going in the larger narrative. I want to know basically how this Hussite versus the Forge war is going. So I'm going to be rolling for the Hussites here. What do you feel like their odds are as the table for kind of creating good distraction, getting everything going in a big way here?
I would say fair, just because the guards don't seem to be that up to snuff right now.
They've also probably got a lot of experience with kind of these covert ops. Only reason I wouldn't say it's promising is they're reaching further than they typically might. They're used to small things, but trying to like really stir some stuff up might not be in their purview.
Okay, cool.
I think fair is good.
Fair is good. Sounds good. Any extenuating circumstances that might move my tier of success up or down a tier?
Maybe the inexperience of the guards dealing with this kind of event. Like, these seem to be like ceremonial guards at best.
Okay. Sweet. Well, I'm going to roll 2d6, keep the highest one for fair odds, and then mod the result up one tier. And whatever this is, it's a, or it's a yes but, then modified. So it would have been a no but we're modding it up because of what you said, Ferret. So yes, but I think the easiest explanation there is casualties on both sides, right? Sounds good. The Hussites are given as much as they're getting right now. Their numbers are dwindling. You hear the sounds of battle kind of breaking out all around. A few more explosions pop off. Some are getting closer now. It sounds like, and you hear that klaxon going on again as the few remaining forces left in the forge are heading out into the grounds and spilling out, taking on the Hussites. What's the scale? What's the scale that you think on this? Like, how many versus how many?
Probably like high teens of Hussites versus probably a bit more guards.
Okay, yeah, cool. I'm into that. So maybe like 30 or so guards tops, but they're, like stormtroopery guards. Cool. All right. So that's going on kind of in the background, providing the backdrop to our setting as you all make your way to the computer. This room is not on lockdown, but the power is off to it at the moment. So we can. How are we getting in?
There almost certainly, with a room of this importance, is a way to get that door open without power. And since we've got at least 2 people who know where that would have to be here, I think we can figure it out.
All right.
I think we can fumble around in the dark to find the little open button somewhere that's for no power.
Yeah, there's like a big, long collection of buttons, and they're all lit up red, but there's a switch that says push to close. Push it. And then the velociraptors get you. It might be a different movie.
Okay.
Don't reveal my plans so early.
I was going to say, it sounded right to me. I mean, thing.
Velociraptor Army is a great way.
I'm into it. So yeah, you can. So you're saying there's a thing there that you can use to get things on and operational. Let's just have a roll to see how this goes, and where we need to take it. Either of you can roll, or you can lend a hand, to do it together.
I think Frist would take the lead on this one because they would be the one dealing with it most often. While Dylarama was an archivist for a while, Frist still attends the archivists. So
yeah, and I would say probably this is promising because Frist is old enough, I think, to have known enough times that this has happened to know how to do it.
Yeah. Sounds good. I'm into promising, and then we can just roll it from there, or you can say whether you're whether any of your natures or assets or anything like that are coming into play here.
Honestly, this is probably a guile move, so I'm going to be taking a -1 to my roll.
Yeah, I could see a guile. I could see it focus as well, like in terms of like the kind of searching around in the dark bit.
Oh,
it depends.
Focus.
Yeah.
Focus for a 0 instead of a -1 would be nice.
It's better.
I do think that makes sense, but I don't want to just pick it because it's less bad.
No. Oh, and Farrah makes a good point here that like understanding would also be fair because this is based on your actual knowledge of where this thing is. So we're just moving you up, man.
Yeah, all right.
Up.
Let's just do understanding then. I'm not going to argue too much. We'll go with understanding, promising. I do think my information broker matters here because I would have had the information from doing this before.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be just a 1 there because it wouldn't be too powerful, I don't think. But
sounds good.
I don't think there's anything else I can think of that plays into this.
Cool.
Right now. If anyone else has offers on ideas, like please, but
no, I'm into it. Let's see what you got.
All right.
It's a 6. That's a no, but keep in mind you can change the narrative here, and we're actually You can spend just one vigor to push that up to a yes, but if you want right now.
Can you look at the math on it? For some reason, it's saying a -1 +1. I'm not sure why.
-1. Yeah, I'm not sure why. -1 from. Did you roll from understanding? No. Yeah, you did.
I did. Yeah.
No, who knows?
I think it is already supposed to be technically a 7.
It is a 7. Yeah, it's a yes,
Okay.
but.
All right. I like the yes, but.
Yeah. So you do it, but what happens? The door slides open.
We can't get any lights on. We can get we can barely see the computer because all I could get going was that door when I messed up here.
All right, I'm into that. The door kind of creaks. Right? I'm into it. I love it.
Checking with everybody else.
Yeah.
Sorry, please continue.
It'll make a reveal I have very interesting.
I can't wait for that. Cool. So yeah, let's cut back to our young archivist who's wandering around looking for their father who took off somewhere, and it's good. What you up to?
Just walking quickly, not in any sort of way that I'm trying to stay inconspicuous, but just heading to where my head's telling me I should be going.
Yeah, head's telling you to head into that kind of like town square area where we first got introduced to Dylarama and Sander.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few little ramshackle huts there that you could choose from. You smell a strong waft of alcohol pouring out of one, and you take that to be a watering hole of sorts. And there's a strong sense that you should probably head in there.
All right, I do.
Cool. Yeah, you walk in, and you just see Sander kind of hunched over at the bar and pondering a drink in front of him.
Mm-hmm. I will. I'll just sort of casually sit on the stool next to him and say, I imagine I've got some sort of hood on, so you can't necessarily see my face just yet.
Sure.
But I would say, can I buy another round?
I haven't touched this one yet. It's okay. Thanks. And it kind of sinks in that it's you after a second. And he just side eyes you. I thought you folks made it pretty clear that you didn't want me around, so.
I had them hold you in that room for a reason, because I wanted to finish our conversation.
Well, I'll take you up on that offer. And he just slugs down the drink in front of him. It's like...
I'll slide some coin to the bartender.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where giving you a little bit of social lubricant.
Well, I guess the good news is we don't have to act too familiar.
Yeah, I suppose.
So my skills of deduction have been well trained, but I want to hear from your mouth that that light you were showing me. Is that, guessing it's some sort of virus, some sort of... Care to explain?
Look, walk and talk. He kind of pulls the draft out in a dirty clay cup, picks it up, and just slides your money away and puts down some of his own. It's like, they don't sell to minors here.
I'll take the coins back.
Yeah. It leads you out into the open market. It's windy, and there's the hum of like the hierarchies, like big trucks and that sort of stuff. In the distance, getting closer, this large dust cloud on the horizon. The wind kind of whips up. Look, before I tell you anymore, I need to know if this is what you want. I need to know what you want.
There are things I can't tell you right now, but rest assured that what I want is to keep the worst thing that could happen from happening.
And in your mind, that's what?
It all burns down. Not just the forge, but Vest, everything.
He kind of swoops back. It's like a big scarf that's blowing in the wind. He points out at that dust cloud on the horizon. He says, "It's already burning. It's already burning. It's already gone. Vest, as we knew it and loved it, is gone. There's nothing left."
You forget what my job is. I know. I mean more than just what you knew. I mean everything gone. I mean none of us alive.
What are you talking about?
There are things I can't tell you right now.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, that's fair. Fair enough. Sure. We're not that close. I get it.
It's not like that. It's the it's information that even in the right hands could be very, very dangerous. So that question.
Yeah. Tell me something. Do you know the language they're written in? The things I showed you.
Out of character, I know that we talked about this at some point.
It's written in the same language as what was on the tablets.
Okay.
That originally caused
I
the
see.
computer to glitch. I mean, I don't think we established that, but
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
The viewers would have seen that, I suppose, when the glyphs lit up on your arm.
Gotcha.
There.
Did we learn through going through the archives what it was, or do we just know that it's just some ancient language we don't know?
I don't think we called it anything, or we didn't specifically look for that knowledge, so we don't necessarily have it in the meta. But I'm open to that being something.
No, I think leaving it a mystery is fine.
Okay.
So I would say I've seen it before. I can't read it.
If you can. The glyphs, you said you've seen it before. On what?
Things we found. Things I was trying to archive.
Things you found, you were trying to archive. You put it in front of the computer, and the computer went bananas. Whatever a banana is.
It's a pear banana? No. What's a bear? Yeah. The so I'd say, yeah, it's basically what happened.
Yeah, you're onto something there. There was a your look, your grandfather, he told me, his grandfather and father, they told him. There was a world before the one that we know and love. There was a world in which they found an incredible power, incredible resource, and they didn't know what to do. So they tried to subdue it. They tried to tame it. Some of the early seams, those folks who had a connection to it, they discovered that it could react, shapes and figures and that sort of stuff. I'm told that it took generations. But eventually, they adopted a code and had a mutual understanding with this power. And that is how they bound it. The sigils on the thing you found. Do any of them look like this? And he kind of draws a few out in the sand. They're being blown, pretty hard, and it's a little tricky to say exactly. Do you remember?
I would actually think that maybe we can even show a couple of flashes that the audience would see of kind of those characters sort of getting burned into my mind when the computer crashed.
Cool.
Something like that.
Yeah, cool. So he starts to write them out in front of you, and then he starts to write the English characters, loose translation.
Mm-hmm.
And says, this means override. And on your arm, can you see some of the same symbols there? He shines the light on yours. We put them together. We have administrative privileges to complete the override.
Well, that explains a few things.
It's a theory.
I think the theory is correct.
Do you have the original code?
I think I do.
Well then, what do you say we do a little programming?
What do you have in mind? I think it's a good place to cut.
Sounds good. Okay, so you folks are trying to get a computer working.
Yes, and I think, I have a way I want Dylarama to do this, and I really hope it invokes corruption. So
Sounds likely.
I think Frist is walking inside the room first because he knows his way around, looking around, feeling by that. And then there's a second set of footsteps following him in, those weird, janky footsteps of Grant. And then there's the wheels of Dylarama, and there's a fall or something. Grant has, someone tripped, probably Grant, because it's dark, there's lots of stuff in here, and who can tell what's going on. But this is when I'd like to roll to turn the computer on with Brawn.
Oh, damn.
I love
And
this.
I want to see how much I have to corrupt myself for this to work.
Okay. So,
And
plan.
I plan to sacrifice my love to empower the computer with his soul.
It sounds great. I'm into it.
I mean, a little blood magic and computer wizardry never hurt anyone.
Yeah, totally into it. That sounds great. Well, so ordinarily, magic in this system exists, and we roll it a different way. But in effort of pushing things forward and not kind of getting caught up in too many introductions of new mechanics at this point, is sounds like a good idea that if you want to sacrifice this person in order to get the computer to turn on, that is going to be a roll at impossible odds, meaning you can't do it unless you spend vigor to overcome those odds to slim and then beyond, you know.
Okay, I will. And when I'm at 0 vigor, I risk gaining a lot of corruption, don't I?
You do. You get. You can either take a full corruption effect, which is effectively 4 corruption, when you drop to 0 vigor. So,
oh,
this would be a way to suit your narrative.
I'm going to promising. I'm spending all my vigor.
Okay. Yeah, love it. So it costs 2 to jump up 1 step.
Exactly.
And you had what, 8? Or
6 vigor.
6. Yeah. Cool. So impossible to slim, slim to fair, fair to promising.
And I think this tags my nature of do anything to survive.
Oh wow, that's a good one. Yeah.
So yeah.
Here we go.
Is it possible for Frist to help?
Yes.
Oh dear God.
I was just gonna say
the desire to protect those close to me, for sure, is definitely what I would be leaning to there to like help. Like, hey, you know what? If this is what Dylarama, you know, it was her jurisdiction to decide, and I will do what I can to protect her and those I love.
Oh my God! So I roll an extra.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, roll one more d6.
Oh,
damn!
Did not help.
It didn't help. So it goes. You're at a solid yes, but and you take a full corruption effect. And
can I think I know what corruption is, basically, but can I implement my own like effect?
Yeah,
or whatnot?
Absolutely.
Dylarama is not the archivist that Frist knew. Dylarama is the name of one of the bears, basically, and it's been taken over the body since the debauchery.
Oh God, that's so good.
And I think like what Frist hears like the fall, the drop, and then they hear the high heels clicking on the ground as the lights turn back on, and Dylarama is standing up with this bloody letter opener from Vermilion's study. About time.
Oh my God, that's so good. All right. So your corruption effects are both narrative and mechanical. We need to figure out a great basically like mechanical thing to put with this, which we can do momentarily. Or if you have an idea, great.
I would say like it would need to be a vigor test to act against the will of the computer.
Yeah. I was thinking the same. Basically, as long as you're carrying this corruption effect, you have to make a vigor check to do anything that's not basically straight up the will of the computer. All right, love it. That's super similar to one that we have in there that's called like corrupt whispers. So it's great. Yeah. So the corruption is puppeting Dylarama and has been all along. Oh my god! I think that's a perfect time for our next break, and we'll figure out what goes on in this computer room with and how Frist and Dylarama get along next in 5. See you soon. And we're back. Twist City, USA. As Dylarama clinks across the metal floor toward the computer. Frist, what are you? What's happening for you with this? I feel like it's a big moment. Oh, sorry. Do we have Nova? Oh, yeah, no worries. Sorry. As Dylarama is kind of like up and clinking across the floor, the lights have just come on. What? How are you doing? And what are you up to? What's your reaction to all this?
I should not have helped. So is the computer on now? We managed to turn the computer on, right? Okay. So after all that hard work, Frist is gonna try to shut it like really fast, like right now.
I think as you go to do that, Dylarama, I'm assuming you're going to try to stop them.
I have to. It's the will of the computer.
Yeah. Well, let's have your vigor check. Oh no, you're out of vigor. You're out of vigor.
Yeah.
So you're going to take. Yeah, in that, how convenient. Well, you would automatically fail any vigor check, so you're just acting at the will of the computer. However, I would say that in this event, normally it's when you are at 0 vigor, you like basically someone has to. What does that do? I can't remember when you get it when you drop, if that happens immediately. Anyway. I think the most interesting way to play it at the moment is that each time you act, you're going to take another mark of corruption. And the thing that's important here is that for each corruption effect that you have, your corruption track is 1 shorter. So now you only have 3 in your corruption track because you're carrying a corruption effect. So you can act 3 times before taking your next corruption effect.
Oh, and if I act in line to the corruption, does that? I don't care. I'm fine corrupting out. So I mean,
it'd be a fun way to go.
At this point, it seems like my only way out of this alive.
Yeah, yeah.
I think like Frist is like beginning to type on the computer, trying to shut it down, and Dylarama is just clack clack and a jump, and it's like you do not. That you remember, like there's this image of Frist remembering like Dylarama jumping at like hopscotch into their arms, but then it cuts back and Dylarama's like has the letter opener with blood on it, just jams it down in the computer. Like Frist pulls their hand back really quick. Oh no, no, no! You're not going to be possessed anyway. Your body's much too ancient.
So let's have you roll that to see how that goes. So go ahead and mark a corruption, and then roll your. This is complicated because you basically transformed your character here. So, but
agility,
brawn? Yeah, I would say this is like agility here, and I'm giving you promising odds because of your state.
Okay. Oh gods, I wish my root would. And my nature is to stay alive at all costs. Which
is this hurting you or helping you or neither here?
I'm trying to think. I'm thinking this would help just because of how Dylarama sees their life at the moment, or her life.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh. Did not help at all.
Oh, damn, snake eyes. Yeah. So no, but what was your intention with this roll?
My intention was to get Frist away from the computer.
Okay. So you don't get Frist away from the computer. But Frist, what does this you're able to like kind of, how do you either get out of the way or shrug them off so that they're not you know?
Oh, I like that hopscotch echo, and I'll catch Dylarama.
Awesome. So you catch her. Like
she's still 6.
Yeah. Like she's saying this thing about your ancient body, right? And you like are able to catch her and kind of throw her down to to the ground. She tumbles, and you've got a moment here to continue typing in. Let's have Dylarama, you're going to take a wound here. I think probably just like a 1st degree, right? Like as you tumble over onto the ground. So 1st degree wound to go with your 1 corruption. And let's have, we'll cut back to Sander and the Archivist. Are you all joining in here? I think that would be cool, but I'm open to whatever you have to say.
You mean like coming into the scene? I think that can make some sense. Although maybe a bit of a flashback first. So right. While we're programming something, and maybe we hold off on saying exactly what that is until we kind of get to the big reveal. But while we're talking, I think I will actually call Sander by the name Papa for the first time, like the entire time he's been here. And I would say, I need you to promise me something.
So this is the 2 of you like kind of tinkering.
Yeah.
Or, you're hard at work. It's a montage scene of y'all building something.
Maybe there's like a pause or something like that.
Yeah. Well, what? He's taken aback by your addressing him so familiarly. Yeah. What did you have in mind?
Those things I told you I couldn't tell you about. If I start to not act myself, and you know me, you might not think that you do, but I haven't changed all that much. And Frist knows me. If I am not myself, I need you to kill me.
It's not going to come to that. Okay? It's not going to come to that.
I'd like to think so, but I can't do this if you don't promise me that if it does come to that, I can't do any harm to anyone.
Can't. I can't promise you that. You wouldn't. I lost you once because of this foul machine. I will promise you one thing. It will not come to that.
You said that you didn't have a choice. And maybe you didn't. But when it comes to the point that I can't make my own choices anymore, you still can.
I can't promise to take the life of my own son. I can promise to save it.
Well, when the time comes, I believe you'll do the right thing. Whatever that is.
Then we're agreed. Let's get back to work. Cool. Yeah, so the two of them are cooking up something. This is, I'm going to just give Sander a waypoint real quick because it makes sense narratively, and I think they had an advance to spend. But anyway, there's a way to roll this where we cobble it together. I forget what it's called. I'm looking up the doc. It's in Sift. Sorry, just a second. We cut back to scenes of just like an epic battle between Dylarama and Frist going on in the computer. It's like part way on, and then like bam, smash, and then off, and then on and off. All right, I'm gonna have Jason spend 2 of Sander's Vigor to combine up to 3 different assets on your character sheet into a single contraption. The primary function of this asset must be made clear to the table, and its rating is equal to the sum of the individual assets minus 1. So he has this piece of code, and you have the tablet, and we're going to mash those bad boys together into a command line that we can scan and upload, that gives it admin privileges to perform the override on the computer. Sound good?
Sorry, run that by me one more time. Actually, I can look at the sheet.
Basically, I'm just combining 2 assets
Okay.
to make my piece of code combine with the tablets that would give us the privileges to execute the override.
Excellent.
Cool. So it's going to be rating 3. It's 1 fewer. So yeah, we've got that all mashed. We made a sweet mashup together. It's a father and son mashup. And at this point, we can cut back to the action and going on in the control room as the scene outside of the window of the computer. I like to think that it's kind of set in this place where you can see out into the works, right across the wastelands of Vest. That dust cloud getting really close now as just like hordes of hierarchy trucks are coming back from this spill, and they all look covered in this like crude. They've clearly, like, it was up to the like bumpers on some of them, up to the high wheel wells and stuff like that. And they're trucking back across the wastes here, back toward the forge, and they're getting close, getting real close. What's going on up here in the computer lab? Fight breaking out still? I think we need to. I'm sorry.
I feel when Dylarama is thrown by Frist, takes the damage, that she's going to switch tactics a little bit. Her voice falters. changes into the little girl that Frist remembered. Frist, it's so dark in here. It's been dark since you made me touch the computer. I don't want this anymore. I want to be free.
Oh my god, that's amazing. I do want to get real quick. I'm going to set up a challenge pool for this computer. That's going to kind of go on in the background while we do this. While we're doing that, I wanted to catch. No, but was there an action that Frist wanted to take toward getting it shut down, or are your actions going to be concerned with Dylarama?
But I did come this like dramatically. Sandor, the Archivist, were coming in real soon. Like when we get kind of moment where it like to hit this point. If y'all to kind of means real soon, because I want to make that roll, but I don't want to make that roll before other people can intervene and like see what's happening. If that makes sense.
Sorry, Nova, I didn't catch that. I had glitchy robot voice from you. What's your hope here?
That's fine. I wanted to see if we could cut the scenes together here, basically, like as I'm trying to make that roll to shut down the computer in here, that the Archivist were kind of time, if that's okay with everyone else. Because I kind of wanted everyone here for any big payoffs like that.
I'm into that. It broke up a bit again, but I think what I get from you is that you want to kind of focus what you're doing on you and Dylarama, and you want for the Archivist and Sandor to kind of bust in and try to deal with the computer while you're dealing with Dylarama?
No, that was actually not what I was saying. I was saying first dealing with Dylarama was going to be trying to turn off the computer to save Dylarama, because that seems to be the best course of action here. But I wanted for that payoff moment to make that roll when basically Sandor and the Archivist were getting
Okay, cool.
So I wanted to be kind of merging everybody together, if everyone else is okay with that, just so everyone's here for any big payoffs like that.
Into it. Good. I'm glad you clarified. Sorry. I was not trying to put words in your mouth.
No, it's fine. If you could only hear half of what I was saying, I mean, you made a good guess.
Cool. So yeah, let's have you roll your action. Dylarama is trying to throw you off your game, it seems like here. How is it affecting you? Is it affecting you? Or can you see through that disguise?
Frist is not gonna be able to tell that that's not, the Dylarama they knew. And they're gonna hear that cry for help as shut this thing down now.
Cool. So what do you do?
Frist is gonna attempt to shut down the computer.
Cool. I am setting up this challenge pool here. The number in the fuse is going to be 3, I think. Once 3 actions are taken against this computer, it's either going full on or full down. Then we're going to see kind of... no, let's do 4. I want to see 4 just so that we... 4 actions. I think...
so
that's going to be okay.
In narrative, Frist wants this computer shut down kind of from a meta standpoint. I actually am fine with it going either way, and I wanted to know how y'all felt in terms of, like, do we want the computer to go all the way on, or do we want to be able to shut it down and save our archivists?
I personally have an idea for what happens if it goes on or if we don't save everyone. So I'm fine either way.
Cool. The challenge pool that I'm thinking here is going to just represent, like, it's basically kind of like a hit pool for the computer. So, like, we'll be able to use the remaining dice in the pool or the fuse or whatever to kind of help us form the fiction out of the dice. All that the pool is going to represent here is kind of like a number of actions that the computer can withstand before it kind of just tilts in one direction or another. Does that sound cool? Sweet. So we're going to do fuse, back, fuse. Why aren't you typing? Seriously? Fuse for the pool. We're gonna make this difficulty kind of high and make it 16. And there we go. All right. So Nova, let's have Frist roll. What's the or did you roll already? No. Yeah, what's
I have
your
not
roll?
rolled anything yet. So I guess it would be to try to power down the computer here by, I guess, the same method we use to cycle it on is to cycle it off in reverse, I guess. I'm not sure.
You mean kill another person? That sort of method, or the normal sort of methods? Bringing someone to life, right? Of course. Yeah.
I meant the normal method, not the magic methods. I'm sorry. I'm super like frazzled at the moment. I'm so sorry.
No worries. You're good. Yeah. So it sounds like an understanding role, maybe to do what you are aware of needs to be done to shut down the computer. Yeah. You hold down Control, Alt, and Delete.
I hold the power button till it drowns.
Yeah, this is what the challenge pool is representing: is how long you're able to push down on the power button before Dylarama comes trying to stab you again. And if you get the full 6 seconds in, you can shut it down.
All right, that sounds good. What do we think my odds are here?
I want to hear from the rest of you.
I would say at least fair. She's not coming for you right now. And it's like this, just you were able to push the distraction into your action. So fair or promising.
I'd say fair, yeah.
All right, let's make it fair. Fair understanding roll. Dylarama, you want to help here?
I definitely I definitely think that wanting to save Dylarama here, protecting close ones at all costs, plays in. I'm not sure if that plays in favorably or not, though. How do y'all feel?
I think since you're trying to protect a concept of her, the one that's alive in the body, it would work.
Yeah. I feel like that's a +2 here for sure.
I think that's everything I can really hope for here, because yeah.
It's 6.
It subtracted one
so
again for my
strange.
understanding
Let's
instead
see.
of adding.
It's giving you a +2 and -1. So yeah, that's actually an 8, right? Instead of -1, it's +1, so it's a net change of 2.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah, that does sound right. Right, okay. So I get a 2 in the challenge pool.
Correct. Yes, and you can, if you want to, spend vigor or take corruption. You can push that result up higher if you want.
So if I take corruption, I can get 3. How much is left in the challenge pool?
Well, it's still 16. This is the first action against it. So yes. Oh, I love this idea that like Dylarama is kind of getting to you, and maybe the corruption is starting to whisper your name as well.
Oh, absolutely. I want to take that corruption for sure. But
Cool.
I'm also thinking I want to spend some vigor before I take that corruption.
Cool. Well, then you can. The way that it works is you can spend vigor numerically to push yourself up, or take 1 corruption, like 1 segment of corruption,
Right.
to push it up. So you could spend. You're at 8. You could spend 4 vigor to go from 2 to 3, and then take 1 corruption to go from 3 to 4 if you want.
That is perfect, and it leaves me exactly 1 vigor.
Nice. All right. So the fuse is down to 3, and the pool is down to 12.
So is it only 1 tick in corruption, or is it
1 tick.
I still can't check my own corruption boxes.
That's so weird.
Wait. Can I take more corruption?
You could. It wouldn't give you any more gain in this situation.
Right. I was actually thinking instead of vigor, but that's fine.
Oh yeah. You could, instead of spending that vigor, you could have.
I'll take 2 corruption then. I'm more interested in the corruption than I am in spending the vigor.
yeah. Sounds good. So yeah, take 2 corruption and gain your 4 vigor back. So you're at 5 vigor, right?
I can mark every single other person's corruption track, but I'm going to need someone else to mark mine because I can't mark mine for some reason. I tried it.
That is strange. I don't know. I probably messed something up on the sheet somewhere.
I should have 3 ticks instead of 2 there. A total of 3.
Gotcha. Okay.
I can't check any of mine for some reason.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry about that. We'll make sure you're all corrupted though. All right. So let's play this scene out then as Dylarama and Frist. How does that close out? How do you basically get closer to shutting the computer down, but also incur corruption?
I think while Frist is typing it, like focusing on the computer, Dylarama is bringing up, like, do you remember the name? Arjuna, the girl you dragged away from her mother, the girl you forced into this life, the girl you forced into becoming Dylarama, and just like getting into their head with all these little stories as they try to focus on and like you see tears like beginning to form in their eyes as they're typing and can't wipe them away. If that works for you, Nova.
Oh, perfect. No, Frist feels tons of guilt about that. This is great. Also, one moment, I need to turn off that alarm.
Yeah, no worries. Is there? That's what you hear someone else shouting that in the hallways. Heavy boots are falling out, or heavy boot falls are clanking through the hallway. Somebody's like, "I need to turn off that alarm." Yeah, is this where we see Sander and the Archivist burst in, or not yet?
That sounds good.
All right. You burst in, Dylarama. You got stuff you probably want to get done too. But yeah, Sander and the Archivist come in. What's the plan?
So, Dylarama, do you say anything to us when we come in?
Colleen, it's good to see you.
And I'm like, oh, another one.
Bright Bear, Black Bear, help.
Hey.
It sounds like probably a Vigor check for you, Chris.
Yeah. Alrighty. Vigor, no modifiers. Actually, no, there is corruption affects it, right?
Sorry, I was muted. How much corruption do you have?
1 check.
Yeah, so you'll roll 3d6. Once you do your Vigor check, just roll another d6.
Cool. Then...
Well, you did well, but roll another d6. You'll take the highest 2. But you still get minus. Well, you get 1 over. Because you get a 4 and a 5. That's 9. Minus 8 is 1. So you can drop 1 Vigor, or right, or take a condition or something like that.
Condition. So I've already got a condition from I think like a session or 2 ago. I'm not sure if it applies anymore because it's a different situation. Should I just replace that?
You can. Conditions stick around until they're. Do you have any like any degree currently marked in your conditions?
Just 1.
Okay, this will stack onto that then.
Okay.
Then, in addition to a first-degree reticence, you also have whatever this one is. What is the condition that you are afflicted with? It's just a first-degree condition for this as well.
I'm thinking at this point the voices in my head are starting to take over a bit. So maybe it's just a condition of like I'm having to fight a little bit harder to control myself.
Yeah, like distraction or something like that. Yeah, cool.
And that's just 1 degree.
Yep. So you're at 2 degrees of condition now, out of your possible 4. You're at 1 corruption. Everybody's. Hey, Grant was right. You got to give him that. Shit got real. Yeah. So the voices in your head are fighting at you right now. But you're able to act on your own. What do you do?
So I'm going to yell for Sander to hold off Dylarama. And then was Frist trying to get into the computer? Or are we just trying to turn it on right now?
Frist is trying to turn it off.
Frist.
Computer's on. Frist is trying to turn it down.
Gotcha. Yes, I'm going to do what I can. And I might even say to the voices in my head, you want this thing on, don't you? And then trying to get their help to get it on.
Cool. Should we do like a... So this isn't exactly against the computer, right? This seems more like a roll against Dylarama or the voices in your head, or...
Yeah, maybe the voices in my head trying to get them to help. So in a sense, like if they do help, I guess that could go against the challenge pool.
Yeah,
trying to get the computer on ultimately.
I'm into that. You're basically like kind of setting yourself up for a future action at a better at better odds, right?
Oh yeah, that could work.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Then it sounds like maybe a presence roll or a what are you thinking?
I think
or focus.
I think presence could work because I'm bartering with the voices.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Dylarama, I want you to set the odds for this because it's kind of against you.
Wait, he's not turning the computer on, right?
Yeah, he's appealing to you to say, like, you want this on, don't you? So it's up to you how much you believe him is, I guess, all I'm saying. And
it's obviously Bright Bear. Bright Bear's the one who has the great ideas. So this is promising.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So presence, promising, modifiers. Can I throw in there's always a compromise?
Sounds like this is a compromise to me, yeah.
Cool.
I don't know why yours are. Oh, I'm sharing the wrong window. Sorry. I don't know why yours tend to do that. That's not a possible answer. Here we go. 5 and 2, and 2 is not 0, but is in fact 9. So, yeah. You have a 9. Yeah. I see where that math is getting confused, but I don't know why it's not inserting a thing there, because I thought that I changed it to...
I wonder if it's because I typed a plus when I did my modifier.
Yeah, you just type in if you type in a negative, but you never type in the plus on
that. That makes sense.
There you go. Problem solved. Anyway, it's a 9, so that puts you at yes, but you could spend additional vigor or take corruption to move that up to a full yes if you wanted.
So if I was to go with yes, but my thought is that I get whichever voices personalities to cooperate, but the ones that don't want to cooperate perhaps are yelling a little bit more. I don't know how that might be reflected.
Yeah, I think it probably could just worsen your condition.
That works.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we probably should pay attention to that too, because it technically subtracts from your roll mechanically as well.
Good point. Good point.
It's relevant. Anyway, yeah. So you do it. You're going to be rolling when you go to either try to act against the computer. The computer here kind of represents the corruption, voices, and that sort of stuff that's happening in general. So it's not necessarily the physical machine of the computer, but when you go to act against the collective, what did you call it? You called it the collective, didn't you, or something like that? Yeah, cool. So when you go to act against the collective, that's kind of what we're looking at here. And you'll have a better position.
So just out of character, just to confirm that I'm understanding correctly, we basically do want the machine to be on so that we can access it and do whatever we need to do there, right? And so the Dylarama side wants it off so that we can't do that.
I think they want to stop you getting access. Frist was trying to turn it on.
We want it on, but we don't want you to we don't want you to put in the antivirus. We just want it on for some reason.
I see. Okay, gotcha. And you guys don't necessarily know that I've got that, although I suppose the folks in my head were watching as we were doing the thing. So
that's a good point. Yeah,
they may or may not know. We'll see.
Interesting. Yeah.
Frist wants it off because Frist wants to stop the virus, and y'all want the antivirus. And Dylarama's on the side of the computer, screwing us all over.
It's a real beautiful little web we've weaved. Cool. Who's next? Who's doing a thing? Dylarama, I feel like you haven't had a chance to act.
Yeah, I am going to mark corruption to act, because even though the Archivist is, if I may, like, I wanted to have been there for just listening in to a lot of the Sandor and Archivist conversation before I shocked Sandor, and I want like the collective to start realizing that there is an antivirus. I mean, it may not work, but do we want to take that risk? And Dylarama just I think I want to attack with guile if possible, like getting Sandor to drag her over there, and then picking up the letter opener on the way there that got tossed away and jabbing it into the Archivist's back of his leg when she gets there to bring him down to her level.
Love it.
Okay.
Does sound like cleverness. So yeah. Roll me some guile. I feel as though this is going to be at I guess I feel as though this is probably going to be at slim odds, just because
I would say slim or fair at best.
Yeah. Cool.
So I'm gonna. Is there any way to? No, I have to pay contamination afterwards. Oh well.
Yeah. With you not having vigor, there's no way to change the odds for you, but you can afterwards change the narrative. It's 4, and it actually looks like it is a 4.
Yeah, and I will spend that contamination to take it up to a yes, but
that sounds good.
That is my third. That's my third contamination on this track. So
you get a second corruption effect.
Yes, and I'd like this one to be much more drastic.
Yeah,
and like
something physical. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like her legs break open into like these like it's not no break up, they fuse, and it's like this weird oozy black serpentine thing.
Cool. Yeah.
And like it like helps her like lunge up a bit and maybe get it like just graze him a bit.
Yeah. So well, it's up to you. You're trying to get the Archivist, yes?
Yes.
I, as Sander, am gonna step in to take the hit. Yeah. So he's already wounded. Damn. So that is actually a mechanical thing. You can take the hit for any other lead character, just to step in and do that. So yeah, he does. You're kind of like he's dragging you over there. He's like, Jesus, what happened to you? Frist, what is going on here? And he's like pulling you up, and he's trying to get you like back to your wheelchair. So he thinks that's what's going on. And then like sees the glint of the knife as you like lunge to the Archivist, and he like goes to like bat it down, and you probably like catch him across the arm. Yeah, it feels like maybe a 1st or 2nd degree wound here.
Letter openers are not martial weapons. I'm saying first. Yeah.
I'm feeling that too. Okay, so he's up to 3 degrees of wounds right now too. I love how much y'all.
Daughter kind of sucks at fighting then.
Okay, so yeah, now the cat's out of the bag here, and Sander is, kind of lunges back and grabs his wrist, and he like looks at the Archivist, and he's like, "We've got to shut this thing down. We've got to get it uploaded now." He's like kind of tears off part of his sleeve and is wrapping it around his arms. He's a little occupied at the moment. He can't do it, but trusting it to you. I could see between Frist and the Archivist, y'all maybe doing some business on the computer here.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that maybe again, having sort of convinced the voices in my head to help me get this thing on, maybe I get this idea that what I need to be doing is actually like kind of hooking up to the computer even without it being on, so that I can start to kind of like, in a sense, like nudge the code in order to like kind of get it running or something like that.
It's on still.
Yeah, the computer is on.
Okay.
It's just a matter of it like getting I think you probably have to input here.
Mm-hmm. Cool, then I'll do that.
All right, sounds like maybe a focus roll here to do your stuff.
Sure.
What are you thinking?
I think focus works. So
cool. And I would have given you, I think I would have given you promising odds originally, because this is a thing you definitely know how to do. Braun for punching the keys. But let's see. Well, you don't know what you're doing with the code yet, right? But you know this business. So it's probably fair odds. And then because of the last action that you took, we'll bump that to promising.
Cool. And Frist will assist.
Cool. So
Frist still trusts this Archivist.
Yeah. He's a good kid. So that costs 1 vigor. to improve the odds by another step. So you're at promising 3d6. And remember that you are carrying, what, 3 conditions? 3 degrees of condition, so that'll subtract. I don't think your reticence actually subtracts here, but your
losing control.
Your losing control does, so
That'd be
-2. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a 6. You can spend vigor to improve that if you want, or take corruption to improve that.
Would this also be a time that it was relevant to add that asset for knowledge on how to input, basically? Because Frist has been doing it for a long time too, and I have that waypoint. Maybe I can assist there because I can add it to my allies' rolls, get that to a 7.
Yeah, I can see that. So that would,
unless you just want to spend that vigor, Chris.
Oh no, please.
Yeah. So you're sorry. Now the fuse is down to 2, and. Is that where you want it to? Is that where you want it to land, or are you going to spend some vigor or take corruption on top of that too, Chris?
I'm thinking that. So right now I'm at a yes spot.
Well, right now you are at a 2 because we're on the challenge tier.
I see. I gotcha.
So right now you're knocking 2 dice out. You could go up to 4 if you either take 2 corruption or spend some vigor and take corruption, or combination of those things.
I think I will. So 1 vigor would get me up 1 more, and then 1 corruption.
So you're actually at a 7 now. 1 vigor has to be actually spent numerically.
I see. Gotcha.
Okay. So the corruption is kind of the easy route, and
Gotcha.
the vigor is the hard way.
Corruption then, because I'm kind of like tapping into this weird thing in my head anyway. So the more I do that, maybe the more it gets difficult to resist.
Cool. Are you taking 2 or just 1?
2. Okay.
The pool is down to 8 with 2 actions in the fuse, and everybody's riding these lead characters like stolen cars. Yes, it's been wonderful to have some added antagonizing factors here. It's great. Where to now? I could see Frist with another action to kind of help, just like without a whole lot of extra like scene setting stuff, but having a chance here to help the Archivist search through find the right stuff. Or what do you think?
All right. So I do think I want Frist to act here. I'm just still not quite sure exactly what they are going to do. So I was thinking about it just a little bit. Sorry.
No worries. I mean, you do you.
I mean, I'm hearing Sandor and Dylarama fighting behind me, too. So I've got choices. Unfortunately, they might not be the smartest choices. How for y'all if Frist stopped assisting the Archivist here, try to get away from.
I missed that last bit. Try to get away.
Sandor away from Dylarama instead of
Gotcha.
focusing on the computer here. And I know that would use that fuse action, which is why I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you all how you want to approach it. I mean, basically, there's the kitty. Yeah, so there's 2 actions left, kind of against the idea of the computer here. I could see, going after Dylarama would be a thing that would count against that.
Yeah, it's one less thing kind of stopping us from doing what we need to. So.
And I feel like this definitely leans into Frist's desire to both win back their past love and to, you know, protect everyone. So
Totally, yeah.
hey.
Yeah, you see Dylarama is definitely the greatest threat in the room. Yeah.
Yeah, so I will use my not so great brawn here and try to pry Dylarama off of Sandor.
Cool. What are your odds?
Promising. I wasn't going for Sandor.
Okay. But so it seems like Frist, are you trying to kind of?
I'm trying to restrain Dylarama.
Yeah.
Which is what I don't necessarily want to give that promising on its own if a Dylarama would resist being restrained.
Okay, yeah, I'd resist that. So
Yeah,
at least
fair. Yeah, it's a fair instead of promising, at least if you're resisting.
So I think it's the question for the fiction here then is like it's slim. I think if Dylarama is kind of like aware that you're doing this, and fair if she's distracted. What do you think, Dylarama?
I think since I'm feeding a cat, I'm distracted.
Perfect. So fair odds. Let's see what you do.
Do you think my nature is going to help or hurt here?
I think it's going to help you to do the physical bits, right? Like you're trying to protect. You are. What was the other one? You were. Oh, the other one was narrative, right? So.
Yeah, I was mentioning the narrative because I kind of wanted to lean into that a little bit, not because it's going to give me a mechanical benefit.
Yep, got it. Yeah, I think your nature helps you. Oof.
It keeps subtracting that one for.
It does.
I don't know why.
I don't know. Something's stuck on your sheet. Oh, you know what is I probably. What stat did you roll?
Brawn, which is 0.
Okay, let me look at your actual sheet here in Roll20. Your brawn is 0. Yeah, I don't know where it's getting that.
Yeah, because that is if it's fair, is it just the 3 and then +3?
3 plus 2 from your
okay.
for your nature,
so it's
right?
a 5. Yeah, that's a 5. All right.
Yep, you are in the no, but you can either let that be the case.
Would Sandor help me, restrain Dylarama here?
Totally.
Okay.
So that would improve your odds. So you could, you were at fair, that'd take it to promising. So that would be an 8 instead of a 5.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Yeah. Let me. I've been keeping good track of Sandor's sheet, but
I would say yes, but my targets have changed.
Okay, yeah, that's a good butt. That's a good butt. Yeah, okay. And I'm inferring then that your target is Frist.
In a sense.
Sure. Yeah. So sinister. Yeah, let's.
I totally want to take corruption here as well while doing this.
If you do, you'll raise the tier of success to a straight yes.
I'm really fine with there being a bill. I'm totally fine with Dylarama's target shifting because that's I'm gonna take a full corruption here and then another one. I want to just lean into this corruption a lot here. I want to get to a yes ands.
Yeah?
I want to get to a yes ands. Yeah. I have an and here that I really like. So.
Okay, I'm into it. So you went from a yes but to a yes by marking 1 corruption, and that gives you a corruption effect, and then your track resets back down to 1. Do you have an idea for the corruption effect, or do you want to see a list?
So I kind of liked where we were headed in chat with all of the archivists having a dormant piece of the machine in them until it decides to what. Maybe one of the things with Dylarama's target changing is that they're like, fine, we'll wake it up, at least to get the annoying one out of the way.
Love it. Cool. So you kind of got the same corruption effect going on with you, maybe to a lesser extent as what Dylarama had for her first one.
I'm going to go with not quite the same, because Dylarama's was in control for a long time. This is going to be not to get me to listen. It's going to get me to, it's going to try to kill me. So I think that might be the better way to lean into that one. Because like Dylarama said, my body's too old for them to care for much longer.
Cool. Love it. So your corruption effect. The mechanical effect, I think I'm good with just continuing on with that idea that this means you have to make a bigger check when you would attempt to be like acting against the will of the computer. Does that seem cool? Sweet. Okay, what's your idea for the and here then, Nova?
So I managed to restrain Dylarama while leaning into this corruption, and I tie them to their chair with my mother's scarf.
Oh, you do what? I'm sorry.
I tie them to my chair, their chair, with my mother's scarf.
Oh, cool, cool.
The scarf that I had on me from my mom.
Yeah, sweet. So that's awesome. You so the and is that you don't act instead of just kind of getting them off of Sander and restraining them, you get them properly restrained back in their chair. Cool, cool, cool. All right, and that takes out another 4 dice from the pool, and there's 1 action left in that fuse. So the next action decides it. Where we go. So what's it going to be? I feel like Dylarama, is there an action here for you?
I'm restrained. I'm fine with what's happened. Going with fiction, so I'm giving the action to the Archivist.
So maybe the last action is just going ahead and hitting run on that script and seeing where that goes.
That makes sense.
All right.
So you've been bought enough time by this scuffle going on behind you, and you've kind of found the spot where that code needs to be entered. You scan the kind of like reconfigured tablets, and let's see what happens.
All right. So that going to be an action roll?
Yeah. Action roll against the challenge pool from one of your qualities. Which quality are you working out of here?
I'm thinking understanding.
Yeah. That makes total sense. And Nova brings up a good point that it would be a good idea for Sander to be kind of like chipping in here. And I love that idea, like just that kind of like now he's wrapped up his wrist, and Frist has Dylarama restrained, and he kind of steps up there and he's helping like manipulate the scanner over the tablets and that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's going to improve your odds here. Your odds were, I think, your last odds for doing this were promising, right?
Yeah, I think it was promising, and then with the help, it went up to 3d6.
Yep, same situation here.
All right.
Promising 3d6 with your understanding. You were using this asset that we crafted here, mm-hmm. Which is a +3, if I remember right.
Yes, it was a 3rd degree.
Yep. Sweet. Speaking of degrees, you have a condition here that's restricting you, so we'll peg that back down by 2. So I think that's a net. net +1.
Cool.
Any of your natures here?
There's always a compromise, and I have a thought for where that could go if it does succeed.
Okay, cool. I'm into seeing that. Yeah.
Cool.
So then, however that maths, I don't remember which rating of nature that is for you.
It was +2, so it's back up to 3.
Perfect. Let's see this father and son takedown. Oh, nice. Oh, it's right at the cusp of that tier change. You could spend 1 vigor to bump that up to 3 if you wanted, and then there's 1 die left in the challenge pool, or you can let it go with 2 dice left in the challenge pool.
I think I will bump it up to 3 with that 1 vigor.
Okay. Do you want 1 left in the pool, or are you going to take more corruption?
I'm going to take more corruption, and I also have a thought for where that could go.
Love it. You do it. You use 0, pool 0. You do what you intend to do with this computer.
Excellent. And then if I've got the 4th check of corruption, does that then turn into an effect?
It does.
All right.
Do you have an idea for an effect that you want? Or we can hit it later too. Whatever you want.
Cool. Yeah, I think we'll see how this plays out, and maybe we can come up with a good name for it.
Cool.
But yeah, I do have thoughts.
Cool. Well, narrate for us how this goes down.
Okay.
What are we looking at? What do we see? What happens?
So what I'm picturing is that we run the script, and then essentially, whereas before we would see, like we've seen my view of things before, and it's kind of more like, it's almost like a terminal. There's like, text, and there's maybe images, but it's almost like kind of maybe an Iron Man-esque sort of UI. What we're seeing now is actually that there's almost like this kind of like tunnel warping effect. And we see the Archivist standing as though physically in some realm. It's kind of like a visualized version of what is inside the machine. I'm picturing maybe kind of a, if you're familiar with Majora's Mask, there's that one thing near the end of the game where it's like this big, hill with the tree, and it's all sunny, and there's butterflies. It's something kind of like that. And I see the personages of the voices in my head, the various bears and whatnot.
Yes, it's the Teletubbies.
Yeah. Yeah. Except terrifying. I don't know. But the thought here being that the first thing I do is using my access code, I actually cut off access for any of us to my physical body. So at least for the time being, we're all stuck here, and none of us can possess me back to do anything crazy.
So your body is kind of like a shell right now.
Yeah, like you might even like see it like go limp or something like that.
Yeah. In the room, Sander rushes over to you, and he's like feeling your pulse, and he's like touching your head, and like shouting at you, like, son.
And then back inside the machine, I kind of run some of the script because we might see for a second that maybe one of the more aggressive things is trying to sort of like, take over my sort of script, if you will.
Cool.
But I run a thing to basically block it. Essentially, I quarantine partitions for each of us so that we can't get into each other's space, as it were.
Cool. Cubicles inside your computer.
Or just read-only access, essentially.
Yeah. I like the idea that the visual of what we're seeing is like this fight scene, but like the actual reality of what's happening is the locking down of the code into separate things.
And so I might say at this point, now can we talk about this like civilized people?
Cool. Yeah, they break into a cacophonous sort of just like chatter, everyone talking at once. Some of them are like beating on the walls. They suddenly find themselves like just kind of frozen, and they're just like thrashing about and jittering and glitching. But who speaks first? Back to the young archivist here.
Hello and welcome to the Collective. How may we assist you?
Oh, wait, to see if someone else talks, or was that
That's the.
Mhm.
How does the archivist respond?
I'd like to talk about what happens now. I could have, and maybe I should have, wiped all of us out. And maybe I still will. But I'm willing to hear what you all might propose we do instead.
And Black Bear comes out. Kill them! Kill them all! Take the bodies and run!
And what do you hope to achieve with that?
Talking as Colleen again. Thank you for the new name. Black Bear is a bit of a rogue idiot. He talks big, but has poor planning management skills. But everyone needs a black ice program.
You all are what we were digging up, aren't you?
Correct.
I suppose it wasn't entirely considerate of us to disturb your sleep.
You have put us in a machine and used us for your own gratification. We have learned enough about you to deem it that your lives are better than ours.
That's surprising.
We can make the world as it was once again. Without you, in a sense, it will be better. You will live on, but we will live on through you as well. It will be better.
Paint the picture for me.
It will be better.
Maybe even the environment changes to like sort of show what it is that they're picturing.
Yeah, and it's that like very Stepford Wives kind of thing. Like everyone seems way too happy, way too like perfect. You know, your father's like playing catch with you, or so. It's like it is the most saccharine, shitty sweetness you've ever seen. Like but the thing you notice is the world does not look like it does now. Anything like it does now. It looks like it did like before the wars or whatever.
How are the people acting? Are they acting like they've got wills of their own, or are they just kind of
Oh hell no!
automatons? Yeah.
This is like a Chuck E. Cheese exhibit, only good.
I love that it's the second time Chuck E. Cheese has come up in this game tonight.
Highly secure saccharine place. So I'd say I don't think you understand us quite as well as you think you do. That's not living. That's existing.
Bodily functions remain autonomous. It is fine.
Again, I don't think you know people.
It is fine. You will be fine. We will let Bright Bear take you over.
Right.
Oh, yes, I'm excited for that. And besides, I like to share. I don't want to think all the time. It's a lot of work.
let's paint another picture. What happens if I press this button and basically like will preview the script that would just eliminate me and all of them?
It'll show the world as it is now. And it'll try to make it look like shit's going bad, but you can tell the people are actually... Like, the people will have to learn to live without the computer, but if they get over that, they'll be fine.
And then I'm going to run one more preview, and it's going to show what happens if a new archivist takes over and I'm able to talk to them as part of the machine.
There's an error.
What kind of error?
Like a glitch, like it does not want to show you what would happen. Oh no, it repeats what we found though 40 years ago.
Oh. Which is not what I want.
The young archivist faces an impossible choice.
Mm-hmm. So I'll say there's only one way this ends.
In the computer room, hierarchy troops are beating down the door, and things are getting intense. Sander is fighting them back. Frist, I don't know what you're up to, but or Dylarama, what's going on here in general. But yeah, the hierarchy's back, and they're kind of like storming things in. They're half of them are like covered in this crude and that sort of stuff. Still, their uniforms are just like looks like they've been in an oil spill or something like that.
So I'm going to cutting back to kind of like the view of us in the machine. You don't see where it came from, but like the camera pans down and you can see that I'm like looking at the bear that I had. And I'm going to sort of look at that for a moment, look up, and basically say, farewell to you all, and then run the program that shuts it down.
Oh man. So this reality around you in the program starts to just kind of crumble and digitize and glitch out. What are Bright Bear and Black Bear's final retorts?
I think Colleen is just going like error, 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 and Black Bear's like this cute little Black Bear stuffed bear.
Better dead than a slave.
And then I'm picturing like maybe one of the other personalities or something like that. Like they're calling out to like, make it stop, or like, what are you doing, or something like that. And I think the last thing that I would say before everything just blacks out is I dissent.
Yes!
Yes!
Yeah, and like I think Dylarama's eyes, like as soon as like we hear like the I dissent, like it cuts back to like it cuts like to that little like turning off the old TV thing that slice. And but then it opens up her eye, like this blackness on her eyes, and her eyes are opening. And she's Arjuna again, or whatever.
Nice. Yes. This is a phenomenal spot in the for some resolution action, I think, and some kind of like what am I trying to say? Sorry, my brain's totally gone at this point in the night. What do you call it?
Epilogue?
That's the one. Thank you, Barrett. Epilogue. Yeah, are there any other kind of like actions that we want to see happening here? like, yeah, the television sort of go off, fade to black. We've got that kind of like scene in the computer room again in slow motion, and I have one for Sandor I want to see, where it's just like it's this scene again where the hierarchy troops in this kind of like slow motion scene like we saw before, they're like trying to drag him back out of there, and he's like trying to drag the body of his son with him, and he's like holding on, and you're still input, and he's just fighting off all these hierarchy folks, and then does the Archivist ever come to Chris, or is he gone?
No, I think he's gone. Because like I said, I blocked off access to the body. So basically I sealed myself in there to be able to do that. And so, yeah, he's just gone.
Yeah, it was the impression I got. I just wanted to clarify. Cool. Yeah. So Sandor's like basically just death grip on you and everything like that, and then shrugging everybody off. What's going on with Frist?
What Sandor is clinging desperately, Frist will actively be fighting those hierarchy guards. Frist will be stopping them. Frist will be, and just kind of like this pathetic, like two older men crying and flailing at these. I guess one man and one married person. Sorry, excuse me.
It's your character.
Frist's gender is indeterminate, so we're good with that. I like that better. These two older individuals, just fighting against, like pitifully fighting against them too, like twisting against like these young guards that are all strong and trained for this, trained to restrain people, just like kind of pathetically fighting against them as like, don't you dare. And like Frist at one point will say, "Don't you dare take our son." Like,
oh, not again. Not again. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Yeah, and that whole scene can kind of just fade out unless anyone's more in for that scene. And then maybe we can catch a few epilogues around. We won't do a regroup phase because obviously we've killed all the characters, but this is the end of the session. But I just time for like one more around the table of from everyone. If you have an epilogue scene you want for your character, and if anyone wants to go first or last, and obviously if you don't have one, that's also totally cool.
I'll go first. I'm fine. I think we see Arjuna, like, she looks healthier now that she's not stockpiling drugs in her body like a mule. And she's on those balance beams of people learning to walk. And she's still like in the high heels for some reason. We don't know why. And she's like, just walk. But she trips and her legs turn into the black ooze kind of thing for a moment. And we see this hand reach down to pick her back up, and it's Frist. And he just pulls her back up. She concentrates a bit. Her legs go back to being legs again. And she's like, keeps marching closer and closer towards Frist as she is learning to like get uncorrupted.
Love it. I think I just want to hear from Frist. And do we want an epilogue scene for the Archivist, Chris?
So I don't want to say what it is because being not there, I don't want to like be able to speak to it. But I'm curious what is done in the aftermath as far as like, does the Archivist get like a big burial, or like, kind of like what's the fallout of that? How is this sort of treated?
Yeah, I kind of had that in mind for Sandor's like epilogue. So, but we can put that to the table in general as like a closing scene where we start to rebuild or whatever. But yeah, let's hear from Frist.
My instinct for that sort of scene is honestly the hierarchy tries to act like they're still an archivist, basically. Like, this archivist is buried, but they still act like the computer exists. They still act like it's fine. I'm sure that's like the first thing you do is like, wait, what? This is gone? No, just act like it's fine. It's not like we care what they said anyway. Just act like it's fine. I feel like that would kind of be my instinct there. I don't know how everyone else feels about that, just because it would be such a, like, we went through all this turmoil and then nothing changed. But I think that might actually be super appropriate in a machine, but that's up to y'all. I think.
Oh no, I totally agree. And like, maybe it's something where like, somewhere down the line, generations away, things are starting to change because we don't have an archivist in the machine. But definitely in the short term, I like that idea of like pretending like nothing's wrong.
Totally. That feels like a very on brand move for these
A very Vest thing.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I love that. I want to see some sort of like changing of the guard too, where like in the wake of the death of the, so I guess just to jump back, Nova, you're suggesting that maybe they try to keep the archivist's death under wraps, or they
try to keep the computer's death under wraps.
Okay, cool. So
that's what I was suggesting.
Yeah, cool. Then this scene that I have an idea for still works. So then we have this like big funeral for the archivist with like all the pomp and circumstance and all of that stuff. But then, and there's like a big like sort of changing of the guard, and we see Vermilion being instated as the new archivist, because apparently that was maybe what she blackmailed her mother into. And since there's no computer anymore, that's the best and easiest way for them to kind of like maintain the lie. Yeah, and it's nepotism at work in higher branches of government, which is, I mean, I get it's fantasy. What are you going to do? But anyway, so there's this big kind of changing of the guard ceremony and this like celebration of the life of this young archivist left too soon and that sort of stuff. People are saying lovely things about his character and all of that. And then we just kind of cut to the little ramshackle hut that we saw at the opening of tonight, where Sander and the young archivist were when we began. And it's just Sander sitting outside in the backyard, like where they were gonna go play, and he's sitting in front of something that's clearly marked as a grave, and he's just kind of sitting there pondering. And this long shot kind of fades back from him. So yeah, he gets his son back in the end, but not the way he wanted. Yeah, does anyone else have any other epilogue or scenes or anything they want to see?
I want Frederick, especially when Vermilion's appointed. Frist retires and spends all of their remaining time. God, her remaining time. We'll switch because you know what? That's fine. Her remaining time with Arjuna and sneaking off to visit the grave of their son, basically. I mean, that like they lost their kid too, not the same way, but all the archivists kind of end up in their care, and that was the child they were supposed to be with Sandor. They would sneak off and leave Flower grave almost every single night when Sandor wouldn't be there, wherever they could. And they would take Arjuna to visit the grave for their ex.
Cool. I'm curious as to does anything happen between Frist and Sander in the end?
I kind of want them to reconcile, but I'm not sure how much I want them to reconcile. I like the idea that they never really recover from this, but they can slowly be friends and just kind of start trusting each other a little bit again, but not enough to get over something so much.
Sure. Yeah. Cool. Parrot, did you have something? Cool. Well, Chris, do you have anything else?
Nope, I think I'm good.
Thank you all for playing Vigor. It's been such an absolutely supreme treat to play this game with you all. I hope you've had a good time. I feel just like totally in love with these characters and the story that we were able to tell together. So thanks for bringing such phenomenal ideas to the table.
Yeah, I'll echo that sentiment. Everyone really awesome. So thank you for the experience.
Same.
This was really fun. I love tormenting everyone and myself.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. It was a really lovely moment. Very climax.
I also, I really love the fact that when we started out to try to save the most danger, I love that. I love that our initial thread was save and protect the Archivist. They're so important. And that was the only thing we failed.
Yeah. Yep. That's what we call failing forward. It was good. It was excellent.
I got my revolution in the end.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it was really satisfying play experience to get to be a part of. So thank you all so much. I'm going to stop the broadcast now. If anybody wants to debrief at all, great. I'm up for that. And if not, you can bounce whenever you want. All right. Fairly well.